Yes, it's me. There have been people that have reached out in many different forms and ways, finding out or asking, where's Pacific? I'm right here. Older, hopefully wiser, and been through a hell of a lot since 2020, as has everybody I know. I have watched people die. I have seen stuff happen. I've lost very close friends that I never met face to face, but I knew in Facebook. I and they died. I mean, a healthy woman of a brain aneurysm in Dubai from the Philippines. 2020 has literally been a year unlike any other around the globe. Draconian lockdowns, mask mandates. Then with the advent of vaccine, I took my vaccine in June. August, I came down with COVID. I thought I was going to die. Did not go to the hospital. I quarantined myself. First time I'd ever missed work, ever, in many, many years. My attendance is perfect. I missed a total of 7 days of work. I was back to work in 10 and back at it. Weak as hell, lost a huge amount of weight, and I'm small anyway. I had 8 days of fever. Didn't feel like eating anything. My appetite went straight to the basement. And all of that being said, lockdowns, shutdowns, and still making it. My old truck finally gave up the ghost. The brake lines had rusted because of all the good old salt up north, and that truck had served me well. I actually shed tears at the passing of, and I still got $1,400 for that truck. It still ran, but I wasn't going to put any more into it, and I purchased something else. Still working on this mausoleum of a place, somewhere around 60%. I have literally stripped every single wall in the house, with the exception of 2 now. No, I take it back, 3, and redone it, reframed it, re-sided it, insulated it, drywalled, sheetrocked, have done paneling, did this wall you see behind me. That is my creation. Going to put some tin up here. I'm trying to find a cabinet to go over for a ductless hood range. Teaching myself to do electrical, teaching myself to do a lot of things because of the cost of hiring anybody. The house is no longer ghetto. It has gone from ghetto to my touch. And I wanted to comment. I had left a message for an individual. Not going to give him the satisfaction of posting his name, but he's been a thorn since before 2015. That when I had my channel under Pacific Ocean Asia banner, that he had written me telling me he'd fried half his brain cells on drug usage and stuff. And I'm pretty accepting of people. Most people dispute that don't agree with things I've said in my channel. But he had given me an address, phone number, and I never reached out. Something in me said no. Comments on my nipples when I'm shirtless in the videos, very disturbing. It doesn't go away. And I want to focus on that a little bit. That trolls have mental problems. That Pacific, I'm dysfunctional as hell, but I'm highly dysfunctional. I'm able to build. I'm able to frame. I'm able to sheetrock. I'm able to do basic electrical. I'm able to do basic plumbing. I'm able to do my job with excellence. Not going to talk about my job. And the reason why, too many screwballs. But I'm doing well at my job. It has been very, very excruciating, the work that I do. But I see that God has me placed right where I need to be placed in that job. I learned that by being brutally, transparently honest, and I said this before, I said it out loud to myself when I lived in Hong Kong, said that Americans don't like honesty. Now, disclaimer, some do. but most don't. We're going to talk about the big techies. We're going to talk about Bill Gates, Mark Zuckerberg, the Google team, the Fauci and the CDC and the current administration, complete with Biden, Kamala Harris, and Kaepernick. And, Kaepernick's part of that administration, but he's now in cahoots with Nike. That America is fast unraveling with complete division at all levels. The racism goes round, the blaming whites for all of the problems in the African-American community. If you say anything that the African-American community disagrees with, their answer to that is to label you as a racist. This is not based in fact. This is based in emotionally driven logic. And let's go back and visit the past. And to that, I just have something simple to say. You want to talk about reparations? You want to make mention of 400 years? Even friends that I've had over the years that are African-Americans say that 400 years of what? Okay, America hasn't been 400 years. 1776, this is, somewhere over 200 years old. Well, what the hell are you talking about? Oh, I get it. You don't realize it, but you're talking about when your people had the Hebrews as slaves for 400 years. I get it. You transposed it. You might want to give some reparations to Israel before you talk about reparations that I don't owe you. And the collective damage you've done in riots and crime and black on black violence has far over equalized what anything you should have gotten. And why should you young people who have axes to grind over, I don't know what, didn't pick cotton, didn't go through the stuff, and you're going to tell me I owe you something? No. This troll, and I'm going to say something very blunt. The trolls that I've had on the internet over the years have been one ethnic group, Caucasians in the United States of America. And as my channel and my own inadequate way sometimes of dealing with things, I begin to see a psychology having a channel. I begin to understand psychology in a deeper way by watching the reaction to my channel. I don't think I'm perfect. I don't think I've got it all together. Hardly. I'm just a man trying to find his way in the sea of life. And that's no lie. But I find that trolls are interesting people. They're mentally disturbed. People that dox, people that post your address, people that threaten if you don't take your channel down, and on and on and on it goes. The obsession with Pacific, the obsession with his videos, the I can't stop watching him was a dynamic I had never before even comprehended. That when I see something in the internet that I don't like or don't agree with, I don't revisit it. I click off. And to watch a group of devoted trolls, and one of them had what? 10, 15, 20 aliases. It took me a long time to learn that too. And I just asked them, why are you here? What is your issue? And the only thing comes to mind, they're miserable. They like to do that. They're not interested in moving on. They're interested in dogging people because something is totally wacko in their brain. This is not my imaginations or musings. This is a fact. I don't troll people. And the fear that comes with putting yourself out there and then somebody threatening you and threatening this and threatening that and doxing you and calling people and posting phone numbers and on it goes, and addresses and relatives. It's like, why do people go to such lengths? And we saw something happen in 2020. We saw the rise of Antifa. We saw the rise of hate groups, under banners of, we're not hate groups, we're not racist, and the media giving them full applause, welcome, and a stage and a platform. And it began to dawn on me. You realize, Pacific, the views you have you've got a lot of people living in this country that don't like your views and are more than willing to bring harm to you. And they're evil, wicked people. And they've dogged and downed other channels. They've done it and done it and done it and done it. And my channel was by no means a biggie. The only claim that I lay on the old Pacific Ocean Asia channel is that I was the first and the only one to come out so transparent about me and the world as I see it. You cannot say that about other channels. There's other channels I subscribe to that are outstanding. They got an intro, background music, they're polished, they're dressed nice. They're way miles ahead of my raw, rough cut lumber thoughts from the garage. Good evening, everybody. This is Pacific. And mine was a raw thing. And it attracted a wide, diversified group of people. There's a core group that met me way back when. They're still on my Facebook. They're still there. They send me gifts. They call me. They text me. They talk to me. They ask advice. Sometimes I ask them for advice. Some of these people are professionals. Some of them have their own businesses. Some of them are just like me, trying to find their way. One works at Walmart cleaning toilets. And it's men, it's women. And to get the highest praise that I've ever received was from a woman who's married. She's a well-adjusted woman, a white woman, living on the East Coast, and said, when I wished her happy birthday a week ago, I said, thank God you're a conservative. And she said, you're the most level-headed man I've ever met. Thank you. And I said, you just gave me the highest compliment I could have ever gotten. When people come out to my channel in the past, they listen to me and they go, man, this guy is, whew. Feminists don't like me. Racists don't like me. Liberals don't like me. But strangely enough, most of my friends in present world are liberals. The ones that are not the militant, upset the apple cart type. Sometimes conservatives are mean and horrible. I lived with one for years, managing an estate. They're both dead and gone. I can talk about it. And let me tell you, she was a tough woman to deal with. Conservative, Christian, rude, mean. She didn't like my hair was short, didn't like it was long, didn't like it when I had a chain on my... Everything she criticized. I'd come home from work, driving the bus in Denver, and I'd come in, good morning or good evening, how you doing? Don't ask me how I am. Why do you ask me that? You know I'm not doing good. It's called making conversation, babe. That's all. I won't ask you anymore. Don't put that saucepan up there. Why not? It's where you had it when I moved in. Well, I don't want it there anymore. Okay, where do you want it? And then you put it somewhere else. This woman had to find things to fuss about. And so it doesn't matter if you're conservative. It doesn't matter if you're liberal. It doesn't matter. There's crappy people in all walks of life. Some of the crappiest people happen to attend church. Some of the crappiest people actually believe in the Bible and call themselves Christians. In fact, many people were shocked when I admitted my honest struggles, and many people came on and said, wow, you call yourself a Christian. You've done this, this, and this. Yes, I have. And I don't call myself a Christian. I am one. And it's not because I live this perfect life. I put my faith in Christ. And to say that today is laughed at, mocked. While we see an administration taking our country further and further into debt, 7.5% inflation, gas, building materials, everything has gone up. Everything. Except your take-home pay. And what's funny is nobody will criticize that. You know, the people that voted in the circus. And my channel was raw. I was attacked by many, some whose channels now have 50,000 subscribers and stuff. I tried to listen to what he said. I'm like, not my thing. And he got some mileage off of ripping on me and others. And I look at them and I'm going, these are not people I would hang out with. These are not people I would gel with. These are not people that, I mean, stay in your lane. I'll stay in mine. I don't get on other people's channels attacking them. I do not. Now, I've been very vitriolic in CNN, MSNBC, because this is news media that puts itself out there and they are lying about people. They are fake news, as Donald Trump accurately surmised. And I look at what's going on in America, and the Democrats haven't fixed one cotton picking thing. People got mad at me because I was pro-Israel. People get mad at me because I said violent video games I don't support. In fact, it was ironic that at the same time that my channel came under attack, I had an online relationship with somebody in Australia from the Philippines. I had done a video with the increasing violence that was happening at colleges where people walking in and shooting people. And I said, could this be linked to violent video games? And several people came out of the woodwork calling me the F word and retard and look at this guy. And of course, I had my wigs and all my weird stuff going on. And it's just funny that you're not allowed to have an opinion. This younger generation of people wants to censor you and attack you and intimidate you. And this younger generation isn't tough. They don't work as hard as the older forefathers before me. They don't even work as hard as I do. They could not do any of this. They could not frame or sheetrock. They can't even mow the lawn. It's a miracle if they can even put a Michelina's, pull the cellophane off TV dinner in the microwave and operate that. And these people want to come out and have, $20 million an hour jobs sitting on their butt doing nothing. And yeah. And for me to be honest about my relationships with women, my relationships with other people, and people just were relentless. But one guy is still there after 2015 till, what is it now, 2022. Dumbly, I made a comment to his comment on a fan page channel made for me with a handful of videos. And he jumped over here. Then I had to block him off the channel, deleted all the stuff. And because there wasn't that many videos there and they're not going viral, like my Chinese in Hong Kong and Rude was well over 100,000 views. And it doesn't bother me as much anymore that I'm not there. YouTube is putting the noose around a whole lot of things, and it's only a matter of time. And I wasn't big enough to be censured. If I had hundreds of thousands of views, then YouTube would start focusing on this and say, oh, we're going to get him out of here. And the same thing with Facebook. I learned their algorithms and what not to post. It's funny, I can say anything in a video on Facebook and nobody says a word about it, but it's all about letters. It's all about what you type. You can't say things like calling somebody stupid. You can't call somebody a thug because Facebook will put you in jail. And when I learned the algorithms, folks, it's what you type. Get on a video and rant away. If you're making big views out there, then YouTube or Facebook's going to focus on it. There is something for being small potatoes. And I had at tops 3,500 plus subscribers once. That to me was impressive. To be able to have that many people that subscribe to my channel was a big thing for me. You got channels like The Better Bachelor and others that got huge amounts of views. And they're more polished and they're more professional than mine. And I respect those guys. I in no way put them down. No way at all. I gain a lot of information from them. And our society has always tried to make people like me conform, and I cannot. I'm not a professional. I'm not wearing a suit and tie. I'm not going to go do things that everybody else does. I try to live by my own framework, so to speak, and decide for myself what I will do. And in an American society, I did a video on Facebook saying, who are the professionals? You look at what's going on in Canada with Justin Trudeau. The guy's a loser. He's a loser prime minister, saying the horrible things about the truckers, calling them terrorists, attacking the working class, very, very angry. And you listen to his little cabinet of snow globe politicians, irritating white females that live in a snow globe, far removed from a trucker's life, far removed from working hard. And they're horrible in the things that they say about the working class. And they're threatening. We're going to shut you down. We're going to cite you. You can't honk your horns. You can't do this. We're going to tow the trucks. And all the tow truck companies said, we're not doing it. And sadly, we see this happening in the U.S. We've listened to the BS from Fauci and the CDC. The CDC was a reputable, respectable institution for many, many years, even by me and most everybody. It is flip-flopped. It has told us this is science. She blinded me with science, and they did. And the science keeps changing. Let me say something. Science doesn't change. The crap that you believe does. And that's what's going on. And for me to say what I say with the liberal people that live in fear and are nasty and turning down teachers, it's disgusting. I wear a mask to my job. I got the vaccine. I still got either COVID-19 or the Delta variant. I thought I was going to die. In fact, I honestly was hoping that that was it for me. I laid there in my bed and I said, God, can we just end this? I'm not suicidal. But I look at the world and I look at how wicked and nasty people are. Who wants to be here? But God doesn't do that. God wants me to be a man and to face things. Be a man and face the house. Be a man and face my job. Be a man and face the trolls. And we say, don't fear. And we say, don't fear. And we say, don't fear. But do we walk in it? The psychology of my channel revealed to me a lot of interesting things. People who supported me and said, oh, yeah, and talk tough about the troll. If he comes back, we're going to do this. And when he did, a couple of years ago, guess what? Everybody folded like dandelions in a hot summer wind. And it began to dawn on me, these people don't have your back. Who has my back? Nobody. Nobody. And I had to realize something. When you're captain of a ship, do you need people to have your back? I'll let you think on that for a minute. You're the one that has to live with your decisions. You're the one that sails the ship. You're the one that's in charge of that vessel. You need to be a man that you can make the right decisions, admitting that you are imperfect, admitting that you will make flaws, errors, sins, and mistakes. And guess what? You still hold the wheel. Okay? You're going to hit some reefs. You're going to scrape some shoals. But as you become more experienced, you learn to avoid them. You learn to navigate the waters. People that sit there and troll and run their comments, and one individual and to give you a perfect story here is one who's a self-appointed. He feels he's going to be the head over me. I was like, dude, I don't know where you're coming from, what you're smoking, but I have a channel. If you don't agree with me, shoo fly, don't bother me. I got a fly swatter hanging up in there. But you can't get rid of those kind of people. They're like, somewhere in the neighborhood, there's poop. And when there's poop out on a hot summer day, you're not going to get rid of the flies until you get rid of the poop. And somebody said, well, gee, you're talking about yourself, Pacific, because maybe your channel's poop. Even if my channel was poop, why do trolls sit here and stay here? So as I started to study the dynamic of all this, the psychology began to be clear. These are disturbed individuals. They like shit. They like to stir shit. They like to create shit. And let's go back to create. They don't do videos showing their face. They don't talk about anything intelligent. They just do little things like one did, using pictures of myself and words and changing the titles to misrepresent. And he's into all kinds of violations. One of his channels got shut down. In fact, several of his channels got shut down, and one still remains. And I have hammered away at it every chance I get, saying, Google, it's time for you to pull this mess. And for some reason, they won't. It stays and stays and stays. And then it began to dawn on me that all these butt flies that were associated with the main troll, they're all in cahoots. They're all the informants that, oh, Pacific's back. Oh, his video's back. And it's sick, messed up behavior. People enjoy cruelty. They enjoy seeing a good fight. They enjoy seeing a weaker animal get tore up. That's always disturbed me. Growing up, I was the runt. I was the adopted one. I didn't fit in anywhere. Still don't. And you know what's funny? Is there are people that have come from all walks of life centered around my rants. They said, oh my gosh, I agree with what you're saying. You're not the only one. And sometimes when you have a channel, you're going to attract people you don't want to attract. Malcontents, losers, people that just want to, oh, I'm going to have fun with this. And it's sad. I've had to face my fears. I've had to embrace manhood. And there's times I've been frustrated, and I began to realize over the years I had been very snowflake myself until the last few. And something, the circuit breaker goes on and says, it's time to embrace manhood, Pacific. F-U-C-K, these flies. They're going nowhere. They zzz on the shit, zzz, and that's all they do. They don't produce anything good. They don't have anything good to say. As if I need their approval anyway. I don't. My channel has 3,500 subscribers. None of these people have 3,500 subscribers. They don't have their own video content. They don't have anything intelligent to say. And all the comments from the peanut gallery on the YouTube, you go into YouTube, you can see a classical music masterpiece orchestra. And there's somebody on there saying, this sucks, this is gay. I mean, the trolls just show up everywhere. Even on a Facebook page that I was invited to come on, where we all do the same thing for a living, and I couldn't believe all the trolls there. And I'm just like, really? And I stood up to every one of them. I'm just like, commenting on the necklace. I can't believe you wear that chain and what your job is. And why are you as a man judging the necklace I'm wearing? Do you have gay tendencies or something? Do I have to be approved by your wardrobe department? And you start to realize, who are these people judging me, and why should I listen to them? Are they giving me my paycheck? Are they helping me with my issues in life? No. Are they giving me food and money to pay my bills? No. Are they making me better people? They don't have an interest in making me better. And a bottom line of trolls, and this one guy that has, since before 2015 all the way to now, hasn't changed a bit. I've changed massively since then. Life has forced me to. And you have people that want to threaten. Oh, if I saw him, I'd punch him in the face. Oh, you're such a big man. I don't punch anybody in the face, and that's your comeback. Something's wrong. Something's wrong. I don't go around threatening anybody. So I don't make videos like I used to. I could flood YouTube with videos, but I just don't. It's pointless. You have people that instead of doing something with their own life and putting out a product or putting out something that can benefit people, they thrive on being a pack of troll wolves and biting into the flesh of everybody out there. And I was a target for that. And I'll tell you why I was a target. Because when you're honest and when you're transparent and you don't hide your own mistakes and stuff, you're like a sheep laying down in the middle of the meadow, putting its belly up, and here comes the wolf. Americans don't like honesty, folks. There are some that do. And I've watched and studied peer pressure, both with adults and with students. Students are interesting because they may not like all the other kids on the bus and don't like what the other kids on the bus are doing, but they're not going to stand up. Over the years, I've had kids come up and said, I appreciate you, when there's nobody on. But as soon as other people get on there, they don't know me. And that's kind of what happens with the internet. People get on, oh, Pacific, we like this. We like what you're saying. And then when the wolf comes into the room, oh, yeah, Pacific, he doesn't listen to me. Oh, yeah, Pacific, he's got problems. Oh, yeah. What the hell? Why would I need that kind of an army on my side? Because when the war comes, I'd have to shoot y'all because you're not trustworthy. And I've learned something. If you believe the truth, then ascend the mountain with your flag and plant it there, whether you have people following you or not. The truth will stand on its own, not because Pacific says it, but because God says it. And God has used me as a spokesperson. God through me has managed to touch, reach, and affect other people in a positive way. The trolls, they're not doing anything positive. They're not doing anything constructive. They're just like the cows out at pasture. Their tails are swinging, hitting flies that are constantly landing on them and irritating them. And that's what the internet has become anymore. And these are not people that are going to come up to your face, though there are those out there. These are people that hide behind a keyboard. These are people that hide behind a monitor or a cell phone and think they're the big bad whatever. And it doesn't matter what they say about themselves. It doesn't matter if they got a bunch of friends applauding their behavior. There's something wrong with them. And it's not because they disagree with Pacific Oceanasia. That's not it at all. But that they can't leave it alone. That if I'm so wrong and not listening to you, why don't you pull your head out of your collective butt and realize you're right. I'm not listening to you. Maybe you ought to ask yourself why. And if that butt hurts you, get away from me. Go find, I don't even want you around. I'm not interested in you. I have no interest in anything to do with people like you. That's not what my channel was about. But I had to come out with a response. I had to, because to not is to submit to cowardice. And I'm going to say it again. People that make these comments and hide themselves, don't show their real picture, don't put out their address and stuff and dox others. Those are chickens. They're cowards. They're losers. And that's not a fair fight. And it's not even about a fight. Mine is a viewpoint. It's called You Too. Why don't you trolls go find something you can talk about and have a following and leave me out of it? Why don't you find something else to do? Because they can't. They're emotionally and mentally disturbed people. And I'm going to say it again. People like that didn't grow up with good parental upbringing. That's a fact. If they grew up in loving, appropriate home life, they'd be like, man, I don't got time for this crazy behavior. My channel attracted a lot of screwballs in society. A lot. A lot of people that I never, ever would have known if I hadn't gone out there on the big World Wide Web. And I've said this before. Nothing changes from grade school to adult life. The playground just becomes bigger. You know, I talk about traffic a lot because you watch the adults that don't want to follow traffic laws. And they're just like the kindergartners that don't want to wait their turn in line. They push, they cut, you know, and adults are the same way. And it's true. The internet world is simply revealing of how shitty a lot of people are. And I don't care if somebody disagrees with me. I don't have a problem with that. I've had people disagree with me. But they did it in a class act, intellectual manner, not with hatred, not with intent to harm or damage my, decency. And people who come alongside you to help you get up to the next level, those are your friends. The ones that just sit there sniping from the background, those aren't friends. They're trolls. They're disturbed, mentally deranged individuals. It doesn't matter what they say. It doesn't matter what the bullshit is they believe about themselves. The truth is they're disturbed. Anybody who dogs somebody else, and they try to say, well, you talk about women, just like MGTOW, just like Better Bachelor, just like all these other people. Did you go on their channel and go after them? No, because first of all, they're much bigger than me, and they've monetized their accounts, so they got some advantages in the whole. When you make yourself vulnerable by being transparent and honest, even about your own flaws, you're going to attract gypsies. You're going to attract all the other, gnats that come out of nowhere, and you're constantly swatting at them, trying to get them out of the way. And it's just, that's why I ended the channel. It's like, you know what? This is just stupid. I can't run a channel. There is no effective way of getting these people off of there. I know for a fact, if I ran a social media platform and I saw people doing that, I'd send a message and say, don't come on here again, because you're harassing people. I'm going to turn you into the law. I would remove all your content, and I'd have a list. Now you go ahead and change your name. You do it again, we're going to keep doing it. And Google doesn't do that unless you say something that disagrees with Fauci or the CDC. I thought it was ridiculous when Facebook and YouTube, the election. The elections are, the votes are counted and insured. This is coming from big tech, which is in bed with liberals. That when Biden won the election and people had a question about the accuracy of the voting and stuff, when there was actual vote dumps way after most people went to bed, when Trump was ahead and suddenly Biden surged ahead, we will never know, because those clowns spent 4 years attacking Trump because Hillary Clinton was a sore loser and said Russian collusion. Millions of dollars investigated, led by Pelosi and the goons in the House of Representatives, and there was not one smoking gun shred of evidence that confirmed any of that. But somebody brings up, we need to check in on all these judges that were liberal and all in the pocket. And it began to dawn on me in 2020 that we begin to see something. The judges, the FBI, the CDC, Fauci, the education system, Hollywood, the media was all in bed with the Democrats. And then you hear comments like, and the internet, and by the way, the Democrats are acting just like my trolls did. You will remove your channel or else. Censoring people, removing their content, their posts. YouTube and Facebook used to be fairly democratic. It isn't anymore. And you see this with Trudeau in Canada. Trudeau's acting just like the Democrats down here, threatening the truckers, and we're going to do something and we're going to get you. And let's talk about Trudeau, a candy ass politician that's never worked a hard damn day in his life. Ever. He hasn't driven a truck. He knows nothing about driving an 18-wheeler. He couldn't shift it. He couldn't do it. And this is the society I live in too. If people say we're not India, we're not a caste system, yes, we are. These big tech geeks, all these Democrats, all these people, look at Nancy Pelosi, net worth $300 million. Look at all of them. How they get rich by being in the House of Representatives and Senate. And how is Fauci the top paid government payroll staff out there? And he should be held accountable. All of these clowns should be held accountable. And it was Democrat-led and liberal, tyrannical people that wanted to shut and lock down everything. And yes, I got COVID. I didn't believe it was real. I was one of those that didn't believe it was real. And then when it hit me, I said, okay, it's real. But the next question is asked is, how did this get out of the lab? I thought it was interesting that Trudeau himself called it the Great Reset. Don't think this wasn't planned. Don't think that people didn't have secret meetings. Don't think that this coming out of the lab of Wuhan was a mere accident. It was not. The timing and the oddball coincidence of this on the beginning of a big election was very obvious. Very obvious. We're living in different times. Big tech is not our friend. It is working towards the one world government. That final erection of the Tower of Babel, where they're going to make everybody come under one. I said this about feminists and American women. They're all homogenizing. Well, that's what big tech is doing. That you listen to any commercial that sells cars or products, they all got the same people narrating, the same irritating white females narrating the commercials with the nasally voices. They've got these aggressive, edgy music to advertise a car. And we see reckless, bad, aggressive driving all throughout the country. I thought it was just Denver. It's everywhere. People are rude. People are rude all the way across this country. There's some good people sprinkled with it. But I'm going to say that most of the people in this country are rude. And what happened with this COVID-19 was simply that people saw how much control and power they wielded and they got intoxicated. Now you have Newsom in California screaming and yelling that little children will wear masks. And high schoolers standing up and saying, we're not going to wear them. Okay, we'll suspend you. You're trespassing. How are kids trespassing when they're supposed to go to the school? Since when do these women control the freaking school building? Since when does Nancy Pelosi say it is my house? No, that is our house. The American people's house. And you work for us. We don't work for you. And Newsom's related to Pelosi. And you see them robbing trains, the thugs, and stealing Amazon and FedEx packages and trains derailing because there's so much shit all over the tracks. You see homeless in all these Democrat, wonderfully utopian cities, San Francisco, Seattle, LA. And then they're up there sniffing their own underarms and their ego saying, oh, yes, we're great. You can't even control your own place that you were voted in. Black on black violence in Chicago, 800 deaths in 12 months. Chicago's off the chain. And Lightfoot, a black racist mayor, refusing to meet and talk with white people. You can check all this for yourself. 2020, my vision became clear. God's word is clear. Revelation is coming. The end times is coming. And we needed a trigger. We needed something. And unfortunately, Republicans are saying midterms. The Democrats messed with this last election. They jumped on, seized control of the Wuhan invented by man thing. And guess what? If you think they're going to give up their power easily, you're wrong. They're relaxing their standards on things because the midterms are coming up. They're relaxing their standards because the economy's in the toilet and Biden's ratings are the worst ever. And Kamala, nobody wants to work for her. And then Raggedy Ann Psaki, talk about a loser. She's exactly what I talked about on my channel. That irritating, sarcastic, no passion, no warmth, just nye. I mean, I can't stand her. Just like the trolls, these lame, evil, self-serving Democrats always are there, always getting on top, never being investigated. They're corrupt as hell. And then when one of my trolls posts a picture with himself and a gun, looking like Antifa, and he's like leaning down like he wants to take a shit or something, and that picture was passed all over the internet, and everybody's like, who does this clown think he is? I said, that's just it. The guy's a freak, but he's loaded with arms. Pretty scary, huh? And we had to wake up and realize Michael doesn't support our troops anymore. And I don't always support the police anymore. I support the police, but I don't support the police because a lot of police are arrogant. They're rude. You call when you are having a problem with somebody else breaking the law, and the police treat you like shit. Excuse me, I called you. I'm not the one breaking the law. Don't be arrogant to me. And this is the way it is. And we had to realize America's not our friend. Our government's not our friend. We got people in the military that are snowflakes worried about sexual identities instead of fighting a real enemy like China, North Korea, and Russia. And America's now with the woke culture, and I love, what's his name? If I can remember his name now, Paul Joseph Watson. He's an outstanding YouTube artist. Outstanding. His humor, his satire, and the way he puts his video presentation together is flawless. And I like what he says. And, you know, when my main troll came out, you realize he was anti-Trump, anti-God, anti-everything, and probably had homosexual designs on me, just like several other people that came to my defense, rightly stated. It just hit me. There's some disturbing, screwed up people out there. And does Google do anything about that kind of bullying? Not a damn thing. But if you say something that disagrees with the COVID police, oh, they're going to censor you. It's funny. They don't have time to shut anything down except when it disagrees with them. It's something I found out with work. It's something I found out at all levels of life. Whatever bothers management will be addressed. Whatever bothers employees, fuck that. Whatever bothers the citizens in this country, the police don't care about you. The law doesn't care. Google doesn't care if you're bullied. Now, if you're a woman and you're bullied, oh, they're all over it. If you're gay or LGBT, they're all over it. That's why I tell people, if somebody's bothering you on the internet, just throw in there, I'm gay and this person's harassing me. Boom, there goes their channel. I'm not kidding. Start following these algorithms. But I'm here by the grace of God. One of these trolls constantly said, Pacific better watch his mouth. Better watch my mouth. Why? Because I speak the truth. What kind of a state do I live in that I have to watch my mouth? I'm not making threats on people. I'm not running around saying I'm going to beat up this person or I'm the big bad wolf. You are. And you got problems. And I learned something. Truth really pisses people off. Being brutally honest and transparent like I have does some very strange things, psyche speaking, with disturbed souls. They're both attracted like a moth to the light, but then they get closer to me and they suddenly realize I'm a bug zapper. You know, it's like, no, I'm not your gay friendly guy. I'm not a gay man. I was honest that I had some struggles with desires, but I do not want to live with a man and sleep with a man and have a relationship with a man. I'm not interested. I don't care if a man thinks I'm good looking, but I don't need somebody going on about my nipples and show my nipples and sexy nipples on my channel. That's disturbing. Very disturbing. It does not, ooh, that turns me on. It doesn't. The greater weight of evidence is in my favor. I have people that have been there for years. Vermont, New Hampshire, Massachusetts, Missouri, California, all around the world, including in the last couple of years, Africa, Zambia, Kenya. People watch my videos, Thailand, the Philippines, the UK. I had a white, very good looking white woman, smokes pot. Doesn't agree with everything, but she goes, I love watching your videos. She disappeared. I think COVID got her. It's very sobering. Her page is still there. People are leaving comments. Where are you? Are you okay? Nothing. She had money. She made trips back and forth to Africa before COVID, so I know she wasn't hurting financially. She cooked beautiful food. I lost my friend that was over there in Dubai. Beautiful Filipina. She was surpassed in beauty the ones I had dated. She was a chef, summa cum laude. I had known her for over a year. We had chatted from time to time. We always gave hearts to each other's pages. She was drop dead gorgeous Filipino woman. Her food presentation was without flaw. And one day I didn't see her. And we had talked. We had actually got on and talked. She goes, I'm so tired all the time, Michael. I want to go home, but they won't release me because of this COVID thing. I can't go back. And I've been working. And I said, how many hours of sleep you got? Maybe a couple of hours. Three days went by. She wasn't thumbs upping anything. And I went on her page and saw no activity. And I said, hey, where are you? Where are you? A week went by, and then I saw somebody leave a comment with the sad face and the tears. And I clicked on some of those IDs and I said, what happened to her? She died? No, she died of an aneurysm. I'm like, oh my gosh. I cried. I'm standing in my house. I cried. I got in touch with her son, who's in Mindanao, who is in Manila. And talk about shitty. The employer worked her to death. Saudi employee. Sent the body back to Manila. He had to say, hey, I can't afford to get this to Mindanao. I need you to send me some money. Because I contacted somebody on her page, that other woman and I are friends. She's married, has children. And she goes, oh my gosh, you knew her too? I said, very, very well. She didn't die of COVID. She died of an aneurysm. The stress. Her son, who's very much professionally oriented, even more so than me, we had a chat, live talk. He goes, would you have come and seen my mother? If I said, well, I have a house to finish, COVID restrictions. I said, but yes, if I was able to, I would have come and seen her when she was alive. I said, I did have an interest in her, yes. I can't marry somebody overseas. I'm not going through all that, but yeah, I liked her. And very sad. The lady I became friends with sent me a post of the video of them carrying her coffin into the household in Mindanao. Chickens, roosters running around everywhere, dirt, rocky path, through the jungle, in the village. And it was open casket. I saw her face. And it was so sad because when she was shipped to Manila, it was a ugly wooden box. I mean, slim, narrow, nothing scenic about it. It was just the cheapest way. And I was just like, and it had her name inscribed on the wood. And I'm just like, when you see that, it just hits you how final death is, how cruel it is that this beautiful woman ends up in that crude, slapped together box. And it had to be transferred to an actual coffin that the son had to pay for. And I had a discussion. I said, your mother, because I was one of the last people to talk to her. I said, she said to me, and I'm going to tell you, she went to work over there so that you could have your college and have it good. Don't disappoint your mom. Don't go down into depression and give up. Soar with the eagle's wings that she had in mind for you, young man. Thank you for these words, Michael. Thank you. I needed this. I said, yeah, you're going to go through the grief. Yeah, I stood in that doorway and I just said, why, God? Why her? A beautiful soul. She was selfless. She wasn't doing all that silly stuff that a lot of Filipinos do. She was a very serious woman. She had her chef outfit. She did food like I'd never seen it before. 5-star hotel stuff. I mean, top of the line stuff. I watched Filipino friends of mine that would chat me every day suddenly tell me because of the lockdown, I have no money. I can't afford load. I don't know what I'm going to do. One woman trying to get out back to Dubai. And I said, are you sure you want to go back there? I just lost a friend because they overworked her. She tried twice. First time she caught COVID, missed the flight due to the COVID. Second time something happened. And And I said, you better pay attention to God. The world is going crazy. You're better off in the Philippines than the Middle East. The Facebook finally became a place for me to engage with real people and encourage and help them. The YouTube, unfortunately with YouTube, it was fun. It was awesome. But it attracted a lot of shitty people in the United States that have nothing better to do than to shit all over the internet. And I don't care if they're offended by that. That's the truth. They're not producing a product. They're not posting anything intelligible. And birds of a feather pigeon together, as I've stated many times before. They're all picking trash out of the gutter and picking at Pacific's channel and picking at this. And, oh, yeah, Pacific bought a dump of a house and he's going down the toilet. Yeah, I wish I could give you a tour, but I'm not going to show this place to my bitter, dire, never-ending trolls. But I have gone through this place like a tornado. It's nothing like it was. I've added walls, I've added pantries, I've added things. I've salvaged upper cabinets, got rid of the lower cabinets. Looking at putting 2 wood stoves in one room, one in the back room. I did the whole outside and inside walls and frame of a back addition on the house because termites had damaged it. I mean, I have been busy. And then you mow the yard every week and rake and trim stuff because the growth down here is phenomenal. Yeah, and then go to my job. It doesn't matter what my trolls think. I stand because God has enabled me to stand. I continue because God is still there. Am I perfect in my thoughts, word, and deeds? No. My heart is right. I try to treat people with kindness. I try to do my job with excellence. I try to do my house with quality. I try to reach out to people and help them when I can. Sometimes on my days off, I go downtown, shoot pool, and go dancing. And it's been a lot of fun. Sometimes I just sit in these places and people watch. My pool game's even gotten better. I wasn't very good the other night, but I've gotten better. It's been fun to play. But Pacific is still here. I'm getting older. I feel it. Some wrinkles are starting to show up. Some gray white starting to show up back here. And still have the energy. Still have the drive. The engine room is still solid as hell. But life has changed. And for those of you that don't believe, you might want to start reading the Bible. You might want to start reading Revelation. You might want to start paying attention to things because the world is trying to squeeze us into a cashless society. To get on board. I mean, it's funny. The Democrats called Trump Adolf Hitler. Laughable. Absolutely laughable. Not only was he not Adolf Hitler, but this party has shown everything in common with the Third Reich. Draconian lockdowns. You do this, you're going to get in trouble. Nancy Pelosi going to hair salon with no mask. And it was on the video. And then when confronted, she said, this is a setup. And she can't talk. She can't say her S's properly. She's slurring her speech because she's a drunk. And then she wants to find somebody who was $1,200 or $2,500 that walks through my house without a mask. And Newsom did it. And Stacey Abrams in Georgia did it. And all these clowns that are screaming and yelling about masks show up in front of elementary school children with no mask. America's finally woke up. We're sick of it. You can take your masks and stuff it up your butt. I believe in choice. If people want to wear them, let them wear them. If we don't want to wear them, don't let us wear them. Don't end our jobs. Don't tell us we can't do this or that. And the vaccines, did they keep anybody from getting sick? Oh, but they came up with lie number 2. Well, you won't have the effects as bad. Bullshit. If I hadn't taken that shot, I would have had the same situation I had. I've learned something through all this. When it's God's time for Pacific to finish with engines at last, it's God's time. And it doesn't matter whether I take the shot or not take the shot. I'm hoping that outburst of COVID, and by the way, it did change something. It did weaken something inside of me. There's no doubt about that. There's an after effect. That was hellacious. And I knew within 24 hours, I got it. I got it. And not because I did a test. I didn't do a test till the following week. I come home from work Thursday. I had chills. It's 100 degrees outside. I had chills convulsing my body. I dove under the blankets. I woke up the next day, nausea, fever, sweating. My hair was down past my shoulders. I was so wet, sweaty that in the middle of my COVID, I went to a barber and said, I need to get this cut off, and sheared it. And I'm very disappointed. My hair was beautiful. It was really growing. And we're trying to grow it back again. But yeah, that affected me. It changed me. I became more sensitive to my coworkers that started getting it. We lost somebody I worked with. She was not a nice woman. And this is an example. She was not a nice woman to a lot of people at work. She was mean. She was mean to me for no reason. She got COVID and everybody made shirts and how sad and how sad. And several people came up to me and said she was a biatch. I said she was not a nice lady. But it's still shocking. Nobody would have thought she would have gone by that. I had made contact with a friend in Minnesota who became very self-righteous over the years, and I had a lot of anger. I still have yet to. I called him, and I was loaded. I wanted to just unleash, say, you were very judgmental on me, and I want to tell you a few things. I didn't end up doing that because the conversation went nice, and I'm still debating whether I'm going to. But I noticed after all the years I've been away from Minnesota, and after all the years I'd been away from Denver, and when I came back to Denver to see people that I worked with driving the bus in the 90s and came back in 2012, I'm like, one of the things that's hit me over the years is that I'm not perfect, and I know that, but I've been forced to go through so many different cultures and so many different experiences that I have changed. I continually change. Now, there's some things in me that don't change. But when I look at my friend in Minnesota, he's still a very itty-bitty pinhead of the universe and still locked in that little tiny view of things. And I'm thankful for my experiences, good or bad. They're my teachers. And I always will be Pacific. I have a friend in Ohio. He taught English 6-7 years in China. He's a millennial. We're like brothers. He doesn't call me Michael. He says Pacific. He met me through my channel. I had a giant tin of from a nut place in Georgia. Of course, some of the nuts were imported from India, but some of the best cashews I've ever had as a Thanksgiving gift. He said, I'm sending you these. My wife and I are sending you this because we appreciate your videos. Thank you, and don't stop. I have friends in the UK. I have friends around the world. None of them are trolls. None of them have ever been discouraging. None of them have ever been rude. And I learned something about the internet. The internet draws people that would normally never meet anywhere out there because they don't have the confidence in real life. They're the kind of people that ride the city bus that you just go, I don't think I'm going to sit back there today. And it's not because I think I'm better, but you don't want to get around some people because there's something wrong. And I noticed that the internet was a habitation of a lot of mentally deranged people. And many people say, well, gee, Pacific, you're right there with them. Am I? Am I? I don't just, I've worked with students, not just driving, but trying to make a difference in their lives. Even when it comes to out of control, bad behavior with fights, where I've had to break up fights and pull kids off of each other. You think I'm kidding? I got some of the toughest kids I've ever had in my life. And a girl runs up into me and says, get the fuck out of my way, and billy goats into my chest. And I have to put my elbow up and say, don't ever make body contact with me again. And yelling at me, fuck you, bitch, and won't stop. I said, you're going to sit down because I can't move with you standing up. Wrote her up, dealt with it, and I've had to change. These people that troll me, they don't deal with what I deal with. They couldn't. Some of them wouldn't pass the background checks to get a CDL. They couldn't work with teens because they're fucked up in their own heads. And even though I have my dysfunctions, my fears and insecurities, I realize something. You are making it Pacific. You are sailing your own ocean, so to speak. No, you're not out there. You're not in a foreign port. You're here in America, but you're on the raging, turbulent seas trying to sail your craft day in and day out and stay afloat. These trolls, they're shoals and reefs and sharks. That's it. And you need to remember they're underneath you. Don't allow them on your ship. Don't allow them inside. Learn to steer and navigate and get away from them. And you can't. Always. I support the Canadian truckers in their stand. Unfortunately, I don't think that they're going to get the upper hand in this because eventually money runs out, fuel runs out, and then you got to get back to reality. And I've tried to tell people we don't like the leadership, we don't like what's going on, but it's time for us to wake up and realize God is going to stop Trudeau, and he's going to stop Biden, he's going to stop all this foolishness in his time. In his time. I will show you something. I did all that myself. Tongue and groove ceiling. There's a hole there because that's the forced air duct. I just haven't put the grate back in. I built a whole wall, built a huge pantry here, and I salvaged the old doors out of the house and re-jammed them and put them in. I'm going to at least show you that much. I did that one. I did that one. We're going to be moving this sink. I'm going to be throwing all this out. That's going to go there. If you remember, the stove was there. I moved it there. That was where that gas log fireplace was. I love my ceiling. It came out absolutely beautiful. I don't know if you remember the cabinets. Just for people that want to know, I will get you one of the things here. When I moved into this house, the cabinets were this hideous dark color. Lots of skin oil. You can see it all down here. Skin oil. I sanded the face of every single one of these, bleached the insides out. I put a dark stain in some of them. There was odors in them because the people who lived in here were filthy pigs. I ran my speakers up there for my internet, so I can have stereo throughout the house while I'm working on things. But I put a varnish on there. You can see it. And they're rough, kind of a rough, distressed look. Some of the colors that were still deep in the grain of the wood came through. Did that. The stove is perfect over here. I'm contemplating putting some flat brick down here, raising up the stove. Not sure. I was also thinking about trying my hand at mortar and masonry and trying to put a stub brick wall that went up just about the height of the stove to make a separation. This was the knotty pine that I had salvaged from that wall. See if I can find it. Okay, I don't have one present. I think I gotta grab one here. This knotty pine was so scratched and gouged up, and this is what it looks like. And all I did was cut out the rot. I flipped it around. Instead of going this way with the old bevel and stuff, I flipped it around and built it up that way. Put 3 coats of varnish on it. And came out very cool. That was the old laundry room. had rat damage. I have replaced all of the framing all the way around in there. And again, I didn't want to replace drywall and drop all that crap out of the attic. So I did 1x6 and 1x4 stringers connecting to the joist with 3-inch wood screws, went right over the sheetrock. And you didn't notice how much the sheetrock had sagged. It's very humid culture down here, climate. And when I screwed up the length of wood, the drywall went and sucked it back up. The drywall had integrity, but it was in rough shape. They had patch, because what the people do down here when they had a leaky roof, they don't fix the leak. They replace the drywall and the water continues to drip, and then they replace the drywall again and again. So I decided, let's do this. And I used the Pink Panther, the 1-inch thick foam stuff. I don't know if I have any in here. I use this and put it in between the stringers and cut it to fit. And then you have a sound deadener and the insulation. This is good stuff. They actually make this here local. It's not cheap though. It's like $14 a sheet for this crap. But changed everything about this place, and that was a good thing. That was a good thing. And I believe in recycling. I've recycled a lot of stuff and salvaged a lot of the stuff that I tore out of here too. I built a new wall separating the living room from the dining room. The wall that was there was wholly inadequate. I relocated the door from the corner to the center. I did shiplap in place in the house. I got much better at my sheetrock that whole room back there. Took an old window out of the back of the house, the wooden one where the putty's fallen out, put it in there. There was 4 doors in that room. I walled off the Jack and Jill bathroom. That had 2 doors coming in. Made the bathroom part of that old bedroom. And did some wood, cedar, and some knotty pine, tongue and groove. And just a whole lot of good things. I don't know if I can reach this. I can't disconnect the internet while I'm on video because it will affect the video. But this, I don't know if I'm going to be able to do this. Probably not. But I built this whole pantry. This is a bump out. I did a lot of stuff in here by myself. And no, it's not done because it was a huge amount of work that needed to be done in this house. And it's been a work of progress. And I call this house Struggle. 2020 is when I got it. And it's been a struggle. Everything. And it's a fitting name. But anyways, for those that are out there listening, I have no respect for trolls, and no one should. The Bible says to pray for our enemies and stuff, but praying for these people has done no amount of good at all. And that's not because it's God's fault. Some people will never change. They're just going to be the nasty people they are. Why they don't go away, what psychologically is the turn on for them to continually stay there and trench in. They should go out for the military. They should be a soldier, because if they could use that much tenacity, then you can stand up against our enemies instead of standing up against fellow Americans. And this is just something I've never been able to understand, that in our country, that even though I'm imperfect, I mean no harm. I salute the flag. I believe in Chevy, Ford, and Dodge. I believe in the good things that this country has had. But what shocks me is I live in a country where a lot of my own people are enemies of the state, of the Constitution, of Pacific. And you're not going to appease them. You're not going to win them. But they don't go away. They're always there. It's just like when Nehemiah went to build a wall and he asked God's favor. He got the decree of the king. The king gave him materials. And here's Sanballat and Tobiah, the 2 clowns that come and harass and harangue and, heckle and jekyll while the guys are building the wall. And whenever you're trying to do right, people, even though you're imperfect, and don't take that lie that, Well, it's because you're imperfect. No, it isn't. When you speak the kind of truth that Pacific has spoken on YouTube, you're going to get some of the trolls that I had that'll dig in their heels and fight, because something inside of them is being really affected by what I've said, and they can't deal with it. So the only way to deal with it is shoot the messenger. And use and close with an illustration of John the Baptist. He said, Herod, it's not right that you have your brother's wife. Well, Herod didn't get peeved beyond belief or anything, but whatever happened, John ended up in jail. And Herod liked to listen to John, probably as some form of entertainment. I've never heard anybody speak this way, whatever. But when Herodias, the king's daughter, danced probably sensually and seductively, drunkenly before the king, and the king's hormones are getting turned on, oh, daughter, up to half the kingdom, I'll give it to you. And she runs back to mommy. The father says, you'll give me this. And mama was waiting for this moment. The head of John the Baptist on a platter. I mean, that woman, all she could think about, kill him. Why? She was convicted. She didn't like that John had confronted the husband. He said, it's not right for you to have your brother's wife. Well, wifey didn't like that. Of course, feminists don't like me. Of course, a lot of militant Democrats that get on YouTube are not going to like what I have to say. They're going to make fun of my looks. They're going to make fun of anything. That's what Democrats do. That's what people who follow Satan do. Let's attack Pacific's glasses, his looks, his failures, the accuser of the brethren, just like Satan. Satan accuses, God, how could you love Pacific? He looked at that. He said this. He did this. And Jesus says, he's in my blood, Your Honor. Shut up, Satan. And that's the thing you have to realize. When you get on the internet and you speak the truth, you're going to have those group of people that think that they believe the truth when they don't. They're going to attack you. They're not going to come out with any kind of a rebuttal. They're just going to do attack mode videos. They're going to grab my stuff, change the title, insert music, insert text, take pictures of myself. Took a picture of myself and put it on, legs spread out, and said, it's okay to be gay. Come on, boys. That's what trolls do. And I have to tell myself, if you weren't doing anything, if you were not having any effect, you would have never had those kind of people. If I just had a channel talking about how to make sponge paint, who's going to get trolls for that? Or if I did needlepoint or stitchcraft, or if I was talking about basic boat building 101. But no, when you're Pacific and you open yourself up and you pull open your trench coat and show everybody what it is, it forces them to do one of two things, fight or flight. And instead of looking at themselves and their own sorry self, they're going to attack and they're going to shoot their arrows. And Pacific never listens to me. Pacific didn't do what I say. You're not my dad. You're not my mentor. You're not my anything. You're not over me in any way. This is my forum. This is my place to speak. Take it or leave it. Preferably leave it. Go find somewhere else to play. Go find somebody else to play with. And I no longer care about fan devotion because truth is interesting. It'll attract the people it needs to. They're all over on my Facebook. YouTube is dying. YouTube is censoring, and YouTube is going to be streamlined, just like the world around us, forcing everybody in its mold. If you don't get in debt to buy a car, if you don't like Starbucks, and you don't like SUVs, and you don't worship dogs, and you don't worship Mark Zuckerberg, and you don't listen to big tech, well, you're nobody. If you're a truck driver protesting Trudeau, you're a terrorist. If you say any truth about the black community, you're a racist. This is the world we live in today, folks. You either get on board their crappy bus going straight to hell, or else. My way or the highway is what the left is saying. That's what big tech is saying. Zuckerberg spent $400 or $500 million in voting machines. Really? That was needed? He thinks he's doing some good? Let me tell you, those voting machines were fucked up and rigged. You know it. Alan Bezos, or Mr. Bezos of Amazon, another left loony liberal. And I had a friend who just worked for them. They are horrible. No one wants to work for Amazon and their stupid little fulfillment center. There's nothing fulfilling about it. Hurry up and pack, hurry up and pack, 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 pack. If you step over that line, you're fired. There's these robots. Some guy dropped his phone. He reached over the line to grab it. Instant termination. They got a speed limit in the lot. My friend was trying to come to work. A car was stopped. He went to go around it. Somebody filed a complaint, said he was speeding. He goes, I did not speed. I passed a vehicle that was going a mile an hour because I had to clock in. He got reprimanded for it. Let me tell you something. Those liberals are like concentration camp Nazis. They're the new Auschwitz. And these vaccines and these boosters, it's no different than what went on in World War II. You will do this or else. Remember, liberals, they claim that they're democratic. And listen to Trudeau. What a joke. This is a threat to democracy. You're not a democracy, Trudeau. You're a dictatorship. You're a candy-ass politician that's lived in a snow globe culture. You don't understand truckers. You don't like blue-collar workers. And guess what? The same thing's happening in America. Remember the stupid little YouTube ads? Just stay home. Whee! Yeah, when you're sitting on millions of dollars, it's fun. Whee! Isn't it fun? But what about the people that got to go to work that are living hand to mouth? Oh, they don't care. But somebody can get $10,000 in kickbacks for sitting at home, and then somebody's going to get a $900 refund on their taxes this year. When my friend, who is, I'm going to say it, ghetto, gets $800 a month in food stamps, oh my gosh, how does she do that? I don't get any of that. And I don't get food stamps. And I don't apply. When are you going to wake up in America? They're setting this up to fail. The elites in the world are gathering all things together. They don't like the sovereignty of the U.S. The UN doesn't like it. They don't like individual property ownership. They don't like individual gun ownership. They want to control you, and they want to teach your children. They want to take your authority away from you. They're not into national sovereignty. God's word will be fulfilled exactly as he stated. It doesn't matter whether Michael Nelson is perfect and flawless in his walk with God. Truth is truth, and God can still speak through me. If we wait around until we're perfectly walking in perfect obedience to Christ, well, we might as well never shut up or never say another word about God's truth, because we're never going to get there. Because everybody I met that may not struggle with this, they struggle with that. So my encouragement to Christians out there is you're not perfect. Finally embrace that and say you're never going to get there. And we don't have time for the gypsies and the goons on the internet that all they do is troll. And it's like, you know, when you sit down on the toilet and you got that bad diarrhea in a second, you hit the seat and you go, that's all that stuff is that they comment. It's just diarrhea. It just blows all over everybody and it stinks and it's worthless. There's no value in it. Nothing they write is just garbage. And like a dummy, I sit there and respond to it. And today I responded to one of them and said, this guy is a troll. He's been there since 2015, thinks that I'm supposed to submit to him. The guy is a loser. And he doesn't like it when somebody calls him what he is. Truth hurts. And everybody says, oh, Pacific can't handle it when people disagree with him. Shit. People disagree with me all my damn life. All my life. I think I'm used to that by now. What I don't like is mean, rude, nasty people that are going to act like they're some overlord. You're not my lord. You're not my mentor, not my father, not my date, nothing. You want to start sending me a check for $100,000 a month? Well, then maybe I could change my tune a little bit. But I'm not going to compromise what I believe for your sorry ass. And that goes for any of you. America's been hijacked by screwballs And it's given rise. The internet is the wild, wild west. And these people run rampant on there and breed like rabbits. So I still have a claim. I still have what no other YouTube artist has. And I've watched the dynamics and the algorithms of the internet with the YouTube channels. If you're a pretty Asian woman doing a video with a shower and you got this much up showing and they're looking at your shoulders, guys are watching that hoping that the camera will slip. Oh, thousands and thousands of views while she's pontificating in a shower. I mean, I've listened to her videos, nothing worth listening to. You know, stuff goes viral that's stupid, okay? That's not a barometer of how good something is or isn't. I thought sitting on the toilet was funny on YouTube. That got huge amount of views. There's no substance to it. It's a big black woman sitting on the toilet, got a flush. It's funny. And my channels had content. They had humanity to them. They saw my anger. They saw my passion. They saw my intensity. Now, you look at channels that are successful today. They're very contrived. They're very in control. They're very polished. Okay? I get something from some of these guys. So I'm not going to tap them. But they're not transparent. They don't reach me. And that's why my channel appealed to 3,500 people at one time. We're living in a world, the Bible says, do not allow the world to squeeze you into its mold. I'm not corporate. I'm not a professional. I'm not a suit and tie guy, and I'm not going to try to be. And when you learn to get comfortable in the skin you're in, even though people may not agree or whatever with you, to go, you know what? I'm not into him, but I respect him because he's being who he is. Juveniles, immature, fucked up people troll on the internet. Grown adults that are my age, I'm 55, almost 56. And these people are still not grown up, still doing the same old thing. Einstein's definition of an insanity, doing the same thing over and over again, expecting different results. You might want to try sitting on that and spinning a few times. That might do something for you. Because all the shit that you sput all over the internet, it's shit. You're not helping me. You're not going to get me to even come to any point of trying to respect you when you come at me that way. And you don't learn. You're stupid. You're dumb. And you do the same stupid stuff every time. You're not growing. You're not going anywhere. You haven't done anything. And you make your comments about me and my life and my house. And what are you doing? Nothing. One of the things that changed me as this bus driver is I've always tried to be nice to people, and I finally stopped. I stopped saying, good morning. I stopped. And I read the words of other drivers. They said, I'm in control of my bus. I will say hi when I want to say hi. Because I know most of these kids are rude. I know they're not going to respond. So I will not put myself out there where they can have that control. And when I learned to just look at my kids as they come up the steps and look them straight in the eye with a serious look, it does something to them. Because I used to, good morning. Well, now they have the power to be rude and ignore you. But if you don't give them that power and you just look at them and don't speak to them, they have no fuel, no logs for their little stupid fire. And all of a sudden, some of these kids that aren't very nice, have a good weekend, driver. Thank you, driver. Wow, they're finally fucking speaking to me. Same thing with the internet. The trolls are not going to control us unless we let them. And that's why I don't do videos. That's why, if I do a video, it might be in 6 months. I do them on Facebook almost daily. And no, don't send me friend requests because I'm not accepting them from anybody from the past on YouTube. Anybody. Because I noticed something. Those people that were my biggest supporters, you'd see in the comments where they're engaging with these fucktard trolls. And I'm just like, no, I don't trust any of them. I don't need a fan base to have credibility. That's the problem with American culture right now. Oh, you got to get so many likes. You go by churches. Like us on Facebook. Well, whoopie dingle, pastor. Does God like you? Well, then that's all that should matter. Am I saying the right thing? Then that's all that should matter. If I'm saying the wrong thing, then let God be the one that teaches me, not you. Because you haven't gone about it the right way. And if you're a so-called messenger from God, you're not going to say the things you've been saying to me because God's servant wouldn't do that to me. Oh, but Mike, you say, you're right. I say a lot of things that a Christian shouldn't say. You're 100% right, but I don't care. That's between God and me, not you. But I don't get on your stuff and start attacking you. You attack me, which necessitates the USS Pacific to swing that turret out and go fire shot across the bow and say, get the fuck away from the bow of my ship or I'm going to cut you in two. Is that wrong? Am I being a megalomaniac? No, I'm not. It's called self-defense. And when these rat-ass trolls get on here and do it again and again and again, at some point you got to just say, yeah, I'm going to get off YouTube. And they, in their own little immature juvenility, oh, we won. You won nothing. Because the people that really got something out of what I said, they're still in my life. You fuckers aren't. Pay attention to that. And they send me stuff. They send me cards and notes and gifts and things. And their comments are always encouraging. You scumbags on the internet, you trolls that comment on my looks and comment on this and comment on my failures, you're stupid. I've already commented on my failures, so what's the point? You're not making videos. You're not making anything that anybody of substance wants to listen to. One has 50,000 subscribers. His channel is complete garbage. And that's not just my opinion. He's part of the world system. And the world system, they eat up all that trash. It's like dumpster diving. I found some tinfoil with hamburger grease on it. Okay, have fun with that. But my channel had substance. Am I a disturbed individual? It depends on who you ask. My ex-wife? Oh, of course I am. The feminist on the internet? Oh, yeah, I got anger management issues and I got this. Listen, all these people that make the accusations are projecting. And when people project, they're projecting what is on their screen and trying to put it on your screen. And it's like, nope. Am I dysfunctional? Absolutely. I didn't get a full tool bag when I came into this world. Okay? But you know what? I've learned how to use a screwdriver as a damn good hammer. It's called adaptation. And the fact is, I recognize that. I recognize that I run at a deficit. So then I have to be creative in my ways of dealing with home improvement when I'm not a professional, when I haven't been to school and I haven't done this. But I'll tell you what, I'll put my shit up against anybody because it's code and it's better than code. And you know why? Because I don't do a half-assed job. I'm still learning as a driver. I'm still learning with students. And I finally learned something. It's not my job to be nice. It's my job to be a professional driver and drive safe and make sure the kids get to and from safe. That's it. I deal with fistfights, kids smoking dope on my bus, getting on my bus doped up. And I've had to say, you get on my bus smelling like that again, I'm going to put you in the front seat. You spray yourself down before you get on my bus. I don't want to smell that crap. You're not even supposed to have that on you. You're underage. It's illegal in the state of Georgia. Don't get on my bus smelling like that. That's offensive to me and other students don't want to smell it. And don't give me an attitude. I'm not under investigation here. You're the one that's doing it wrong. And that goes for the trolls. I'm not under the trolls investigation. I don't care if you don't like what I say. I don't care if you think I'm wrong. Get the fuck out of here and go find somebody else to fuck with. Because what you're going to do is, if you actually think you're such a man, you go fuck with somebody else. They'll meet you somewhere and they will punch you in the face. Me, I don't got time for that. If you don't like my channel and you don't agree with me, go away. Go find somebody else to play with. Because you're not changing. I am. You're not. You're still in the same shitty place that you've always been. So let that settle into the sediment that rolls around in your murky brain and figure it out. You don't know Pacific. You don't know me anymore. Go find somebody else to claim that you can be in control of. Because you're not controlling me. You're done. You were done years ago. You want to listen to my videos? Great. You don't? Even greater. I don't need a fan base. This isn't a moneymaker. This is fun. This is venting. This is me arrogating my opinion on things. And I have a claim that none of you have. My stuff was all original. It was real. It was from the heart. And people with polished channels that got good stuff that I listen to, I'm not here to attack them. Because I got things that connect with my intellect, and that's what I'm after. If you cannot connect with my video channel intellectually, go find a channel that you do. Don't leave your butt spot diarrhea comments all over my page. Get the fuck out of here. I believe I've made myself clear. Go find something productive to do. Go buy a house and remodel it. And then show a video of your job. Then I can watch your channel and see if I can learn something about how to make my job better here too. But your butt spot fart comments, please. It's annoying. It's adults here. This is America. And the biggest trolls are white, Caucasian, fuckhead males in this country. Not even the women do this as much as you clowns. We talk about feminism. We talk about how screwed up Western women are. But when it comes to trolls, it's a bunch of little babies on the internet that haven't grown the fuck up. And if my language offends you, I don't care. I'm sick of you guys. You aren't mature people. And you're right. I'm not going to listen to you. I'm not going to make you my overlord. This is a channel. I'm the creator. I'm the speaker on it. If you don't like it, bye, Felicia. Man, sometimes I'd rather deal with Karens than you clowns. And I don't like Karens at all. This is Pacific. I owe no apologies. The only apologies I have is the sin that violates God's commands. That's it. But I'm at least honest with myself. In all the years I've been a Christian, I don't feel that we get any closer to becoming sinless. There's that belief out there. There's people that want to tell me. When I talk about masturbation, oh my gosh, there was Rocky something and all these other asshats and clowns out there. He's going to masturbate himself silly. Well, so what? And that affects you how? Are you the police department of my holiness? No, you're not. If you don't like my content, if you don't like what I say, if you think I'm a seductive heretic, then get out of here. But you stay. And that's the psychologically psychosis that I finally had to realize. They can't leave. It's like a moth to the light. Oh, and just FYI, I haven't masturbated myself silly yet. I've gotten even more serious, to be blunt with you. But we have moments of laughter. Like when my friend shoots the ball so hard and it flips off the table and lands into the booth at the bar. I'm like, oops, I think you scratched that one. You know, my world is always flux and change and adapt and sway and bend. But when I come back after years and you see the same asshats, self-professed know-it-alls that fucked up their brain on drugs trying to coach me, newsflash, you haven't earned the right. I had a friend for 14 years in Minnesota. He's the one I called the other day, Mr. Self-Righteous. God used me to lead him to Christ. And I mean, it got so bad that I had to call. He called me one day and I said, hey, you need to stop sucking on my breast. You need to start researching and digging in the Bible yourself. He told me, fuck you, and hung up the phone. He called me a day later and says, I want to apologize. I suddenly realized. I said, yeah, I'm not a cult leader, man. And this is the problem in America is people got to follow somebody. You got a following. I don't need a following. Pay attention to what I called myself, Pacific Ocean Superliner in the beginning. Do people follow a ship? No. A ship charts its course. Captain isn't looking behind him. Oh, do I got a bunch of followers? Do I got a bunch of likes? No, I'm charting the waters, baby. The people I want are already on board. If you speak in truth, you don't need a following. You got those people that God will bring into your life that want to hear what you have to say. And the ones that are sitting there leaving all their shitty comments, that's Sanballat and Tobiah, the little trolls in Nehemiah's day. You build the wall. And the stupid junk that they say. That's all you are. Read it. Read the book of Nehemiah, you clowns. Read it. Mr. I fried my brain cells on drugs. Read it. Tell me that you're any different than those two. But again, you fried half your brain, so you probably still wouldn't get it. So you're not going to counsel me. You're not going to coach me. I don't know where you took this assumed mantle of apostolic, that I'm supposed to submit to your patriarchy. I don't submit to anybody's patriarchy. In fact, anybody that knows me will tell you I'm a bucking bronco. You put me in a pen, I'll kick it down and jump out. God. And my favorite kids movie was Spirit, Stallion, and the Cimarron. The only rider that horse allowed on his back was the Native American. When that general in the military base down there tried to get on his back, he threw him off and humbled him in front of all his men, Mr. Ego himself. And I've noticed something in this country that shocked the hell out of me. We are not the land of the free, the home of the brave. That's a misnomer. And people think riding their motorcycles and running red lights and revving their engines, that's freedom. No, it isn't. That's just obnoxious, another dysfunctional, insecure behavior. Revving your engine and making noise and look at me. Oh, yeah, that's great. You built that truck yourself, right? No, you bought it through GM. I'm not impressed. Anybody can push that little stupid flap down called a pedal. Wow, I can't do that. Oh, I worship you. Our whole society's like that. Oh, I just love Fauci's my hero. There's something wrong with you. No one should be our heroes. There should be people that we look up to and go, I like to hear what he says. But we're not going to make a shrine out of them. We're not a shrine. Pacific is not a shrine. And that was the problem with my channel. People got so wrapped up in it that they couldn't wait for the next installment. Hey, there's a whole bunch of people on YouTube that are good. Diversify your internet library, okay? I'm just one. And I'm not a shrine. And I'm not a cult leader. And I'm not the summa cum laude. I'm Pacific. Like the Titanic, there was only one. There's only one Pacific. There's only one Aquitania. There's only one Queen Mary and one Queen Elizabeth and one Lusitania. Be who you are. Don't try to emulate or be me. You can learn some things from me just as I can learn some things from you. But there's a caveat to that. If you're a troll, the only thing I can learn from you is how to be bolder and less fearful and stand up to your bullshit. That's it. But as far as you being a mentor or having any input in my life, no. No, I'm not perfect. but you're not my judge. You're not my tribunal. You're not my jury. You're not my courtroom. You're a troll. Did I make mistakes along the way in my YouTube channel? Absolutely. I got involved with Maharani, a girl that I liked. She was young, not underage, and I loved her. I actually loved her. But the long distance relationship was tough. Maharani hooked up with the chief troll, and he then started to turn and tear her to shreds. And she deserved every bit of that. She was a stupid girl. And I have no contact with her. Maharani was not honest with herself, or with you, or with me. I was. And I don't need to rehash and rehash and rehash, but I learned something from all that. Long distance relationships on the internet don't last. I still have girls online that want to have this online love affair. And I said, you cannot do this. Find a man where you are. Now I got a woman who I don't want Thai men. Well, I don't want American women, but the reality is I don't have enough money to get residency there. I don't make enough money to bring you here. And with COVID and with our government being all in upheaval, bringing you here is not going to work. I am Pacific, and I will make no apologies for that. If some bald-headed, chubby jerk-off that drinks a lot of liquor wants to judge the hell out of me, hey, if that gives your channel more ratings, have fun. I'm not here to compete with you. One, because there's no competition. Your channel caters to people with shallow minds just like yourself. My channel is a standalone issue. No competition. It'll never be viral. It'll never make massive amounts of money. I knew that then, and I know it now. So guess what? Why are you wasting your time? If you notice, I don't talk about your channel. I don't even mention you by name. Why? Because you're not worth my damn time. You got 50,000 views now, and you finally got off of me. Good for you. Am I jealous that somebody does better to me? No, because today, just because somebody's got the numbers doesn't mean they're right. If anything today that the internet has taught me is the channels got the largest cult-like following are probably ones you don't want to listen to. There's the smaller guys that speak truth about feminism and politics and Christianity and stuff like that. The non-conventionals, I call them. And I'm definitely non-conventional. I'm more open-minded than most conservatives. There's things I don't tolerate, and there's things I do. Sometimes I tolerate sins that I shouldn't as a Christian, but I'm honest about it. And that kind of honesty scares the shit out of dishonest people. Thus, the troll factor came down in a typhoon-sized storm in 2015. Then it came back again in 2018. Then it came back in 2020. And one thing I noticed, these people don't change. In real life, if they did the shit on the internet they've done to me, if they did this to other people they know in real life, they'd probably get their asses kicked, lose their jobs, or any number of things. That's why the internet is a great place for immature, little unstable people to hide and just sit back there going, yeah, like the punk on the playground, taunting and tormenting you. It doesn't change when you get older. So I'm done. I have work to do, painting to do, and shit to get done in the real world. Don't look for any videos anytime soon, because I don't really even monitor this. I might look periodically. I use YouTube to favorite hundreds and hundreds of favorite pieces of music of mine. And I use Facebook as my medium of discussion. But I put this out there for the chance that any of the decent people that used to watch me, that didn't engage with the fools on my channel, and that were honest people who were attracted to me because of my bold stand for truth, bold stand for Christ, bold stand for being against Darwinistic bullshit, and standing against the political nonsense of the day. To you, I'm doing okay. It's not been easy, but I'm doing okay. And by God's grace, I'm making it one day at a time. Thank you for caring. And I'm sorry that we just disappeared. But sometimes when you have so much crap going on out there, sometimes the better thing to do is let them think they won and take your ball and go home. Because Pacific still has a mouthpiece and still has a heart and a passion. And if God has called me to speak, we'll just go to another venue or to another people. So they didn't win. They actually drove me into a place where more intelligent people will show up. So they actually did me a favor. How's that, Karen?